Horror fans are eating well this year, and this is such a good thing for the industry. Let's break it down. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a lot of great horror this summer. We had A Quiet Place Day 1 just last week. This week coming up, we have Maxxxine, and next week we have Longlegs, which I'm really excited to see. And I just want to celebrate how horror has changed in the past like 5 to 10 years. Like, we haven't had it like this before, certainly not 10 years ago, and definitely not 5 years ago. I'm talking more about the release schedule of horror movies rather than the quality of horror movies. So around 10 years ago, and certainly like 20 years ago, we would only have horror movies during a certain few months out of the year. It was kind of similar to a blockbuster, to where if you wanted to see a horror movie, you had to wait for certain months out of the year. Typically, we had January to February, and those were kind of the bad movies. Maybe you had one in April, and then you kind of didn't have any for a long time up until September and October, and that was kind of it for horror, unless like it was like a holiday type of horror movie where they would release on Thanksgiving, like the movie Thanksgiving. But luckily for horror fans, and unlucky for non-horror fans, they just kind of release all year now, which is kind of cool. Like, last month we had A Quiet Place Day 1, we had The Exorcism, right before that in May we had Tarot and The Strangers. Like, this wouldn't be normal 10 years ago. And that's great. Horror movies have always been really good for this industry. Usually they're relatively low cost. They usually have a baked-in audience where a lot of audience members will go see it just because it's horror. And they also create a lot of jobs, which is just a great thing for this industry in general. It's very unusual that the industry does something right and does something good, and I just wanted to celebrate it. My guess is it's all because of, Blumhouse. Back around, 2010, that's when they came into the game and kind of changed everything. I remember when I was growing up in the early 2000s, I really didn't enjoy horror. There was a lot of remakes, there was a lot of just remaking Japanese horror movies, and there was a lot of torture porn films like, Saw and Hostel, which I wasn't really a fan of, so I thought I didn't like horror. And then, around 2010, that's when Blumhouse came out, and that's when I started understanding that there is more to horror than just these shitty little remakes that they were making in the early 2000s. And don't get me wrong, Blumhouse definitely has a few misfires, like, I'm not blind. They have a few, but they really don't lose a lot when they do lose, and when they hit pretty big, so it's an okay business model. And it's really great to see studios try to replicate that. And now I think that because there's so many horror movies out and there is a need for horror movies, that now they're releasing them during these like non-peak months out of the year, and we're getting them in summer, we're getting them in winter. And it's just really great overall. Even next month in August, we have Alien Romulus, and we also have Trap, and we have Don't Blink. I don't know if that's actually a horror movie, but it might be a thriller, but I'm counting it until I see it. So I just want to celebrate it. Horror is alive and well. I'm going to go see Maxxxine this weekend. You should too. Let me know if you're going to go see it. I'm going to go see Longlegs the weekend after that. I've heard that one's really cool. I can't wait. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ben. I like making these videos. I love talking about the industry. I love talking about movies and TV. And if you want to have a conversation, definitely drop a comment, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Thanks.